All right, what's good in your hood? What's good with your mental health? Pretty Kitty on your radio, 107.3 The Beat. I'm joined by two beautiful professional women who like to get inside your head and let's get to talking. And we're talking about mental health. On the panel, I have a good friend of mine. I call her a good friend. We grew up together, Erica Givner. And she is a licensed social worker at the Vision Towards Peace Counseling Service. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Want to make sure.
That's right.
Like y'all worked hard for them. Got to get them.
That's right.
Danetta Benjamin is the owner and therapist of Focus on Life LLC Counseling Center. Also the executive director at the Sojourner House, which is where she is right now with that beautiful background. And she's a licensed clinical social worker as well, with experience with mental and substance use disorders. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining me on a special edition of What's Good in Your Hood.
Thank you for the invite.
No surprise that the topic of discussion is the coronavirus. It looks like we're kind of headed towards some freedom a little bit, but we're going to have, I'm thinking, some struggles financially and mentally. And let's just focus on the mental part. Would you say that this is a busy time, the most busiest time for you guys right now? I mean, common question, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In many ways, I think just both of us having similar titles, meaning being responsible for practices and organizations, I believe it's more busy trying to maintain all of these different people in different places and also be able to maintain the community and its wellness and the population that we serve in our own private practice and in our organizations.
Okay, Danetta, same?
Yeah, I agree. It's also, just making sure that people understand what trauma is and how this COVID-19 experience has impacted individuals and families in a variety of ways, especially around the scarcity issues with food, even just basic essentials that we took for granted.
Right.
It's hard for me to even buy hand sanitizer or cleaning supplies for my own staff.
So is it, I've seen a therapist before. So there's nothing like having that one-on-one contact, being able to see that person's face, they can hand you a tissue when you start crying. Having it now where your sessions are Zoom, FaceTime, whatever, Hangouts, whatever it is, or Skype, is there a difference with therapy sessions? Are you experiencing a difference in just the communication or the interaction? Yeah. And how are you dealing with that?
Yes. I think for myself, I'm a people person, so I love seeing people in person, and I miss that interaction. It's difficult because you can't go over and comfort a person, or you can't hand them a tissue when they're crying. However, you can coach them through the difficult moments. I think I've been working more with even with the telehealth. I think I'm seeing my clients even more because of the variety of issues that may be going on in their life. And I don't want them to feel like they don't have the support.
Right.
Some of my clients don't have children. Some of them are single. So that isolation piece is real. So just making sure that they have someone to socially connect with every day. But at the same time, I have to make sure I practice my own self-care. Right. Okay. Because I'm no good for them if I'm not taking care of myself. Right. So I have to make sure I balance that out.
Okay, Erica.
Yeah, I think just as Danita said, I've found that some of my clients that went from bi-weekly needs weekly now, so and I also feel like we're not able to touch on a lot of things that we used to be able to work through pertaining to different treatment goals at one point in time prior to COVID. Now it's almost like COVID itself need to be on the treatment plan, to be able to address that. And right now I feel like we're only able to really address what's right in front of us. And I think it's more challenging knowing that COVID is traumatic, but knowing that we basically can't see the trauma. A lot of times when people experience trauma, they know exactly what it is when they're discussing trauma. But with this particular problem that we're dealing with, we go outside and outside looks somewhat normal other than our mask. Well, now we're mandated to do the mask thing today, but for the most part, we can't see the threat, but we feel the threat. So our bodies are responding to something that we can't see. And so being able to address that. And also when I was also talking to another one of my clinicians during supervision, we were also talking about how we can't really talk about what we used to talk about because we don't really want to open up certain Pandora boxes, you know what I'm saying, under these types of circumstances, knowing the fact that you and Danita mentioned the tissue, but just being able to know that they're in that safe place, that we could ground them in that safe place. We're not really able to ground them so much during these different types of platforms. So just being resistant on opening up past stuff and being able to deal with what's going on right now has been, has been how we've been able to like adjust to what's going on.
I was gonna say, you know, with the medical professionals, they're learning by each case. They're learning because this is not something that you can compare to, you know, with Ebola and you know, other diseases or outbreaks. So they're learning as they go along. I would say it's the same for you all, because it's like, okay, this is not a situation where, you know, you have to talk to a teen about obesity or depression or suicidal thoughts. Yeah, but at the same time, you're going through a different experience as well on how to help. So you're all learning on the same at the same time, pretty much. So how do you prepare for that? That's just like, that has to be a lot. Well, you tell me how you feel, and I'll tell you how I feel. We'll work it out together, because I don't know.
I think it's just about, I think what helps me as a clinician is understanding how the brain works, right?
Okay.
So I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to brain function.
Well, that's good.
You know, I just love it.
Yeah.
So our brain, it takes time for our brain to adjust to change. And sometimes when trauma is right in front of us, our brain doesn't see it. And so it takes like sometimes a matter of days for us to realize, oh, change is really happening.
Right.
Oh, I'm really being impacted by change. And then your brain starts to respond, okay, what are you going to do about this change? Are you going to fight it? Are you going to run from it? Are you going to develop a plan? And so we have to understand, like, the hippocampus part of the brain, that's where it stores emotions and memories and feelings. And so when we are triggered, like for me, I was used to getting up at 4:35, going to the gym, then coming to the office. And when my whole routine changed, I was sleeping in. I never slept until 9 o'clock. To me, that was like sleeping until 12. I found myself not wanting to exercise. I was eating. You know, I gained 5 pounds in a matter of like 2 weeks. And in the second week, I made a commitment, and I had to tell myself that. I made a commitment to myself to have a new routine. And I tell my clients, you have to look at not going back, like you said, Erica, you have to develop a new routine that's fit for this situation right now. So that way your brain is not really grieving. It's still going to grieve the old routine, but you can replace it with something new, something to look forward to. Because it's really important to keep your brain active. You know, because trauma can cause our brain cells to shrink, and it causes memory loss, brain function
Anxiety
issues.
comes in, fear comes in, and then you're dealing with a whole different situation.